Greetings and salutations, this is another Let's Play of Europa Universalis 4 with Red Bastard. Looks like a few seconds of the last video got cut off. I just saw that Shadowplay dropped the recording, so I quickly exited out as fast as I could, and it looks like we only should have lost a few seconds. Anyway, we're going to pick back up where we left off. And we're playing as Yarkand, Ironman mode, and just starting to compete in the colonial game. Our goal is to close off Siberia to Muscovite expansion. They will almost certainly at some point try military expansion at our expense, and we will do our best to make sure that that effort fails. First colony is now here in place in Surgut, and we have 2,000 men getting partial wages protecting that province, but with 5-to-1 odds we will be able to defeat any native uprising if that does happen. And once we get a little bit more money in the bank, we can pay our troops a full fair wage. As a quick overview of what's going on around us, the Timurids are now in trouble. They've suffered some military defeats, and it's hard for us to see the full extent of those, as our maps are not complete. But they certainly seem to have some economic problems, and they're having to rely on taking out condottieri and mercenaries to deal with their rebels. They do have manpower, so once they get a breather, they should be able to replace those with their own men. But the longer that they wait and rely on those other sorts of troops, the worse off their economy will be. Ming has seemed to have stopped their downward spiral. They are no longer facing a loss of the Mandate of Heaven, so they do have all of their stability bonuses from possessing that mandate, but they lost some territory. That does not, however, make them weak, as they still have sizable development, a number of respectable allies, and their army is only 27,000 men at present, but it should pick up. Their force limit remains 101,000 men. So, for perspective's sake, they could triple our standing army. For the moment, we are trying to recover from our war with the Timurids. And sadly, their vassals were a little weakened by Delhi signing a separate peace in that war. So we're not seeing any liberty desire from Ladakh or Multan. Very soon we should be able to invade Koch here. And we are now going to be very poor. So 5 years, and we can invade and seize that province. In the meantime, I think our interests lie in taking over Khalkha. And sadly, Korchin is now guaranteed by Korea. That means that we cannot take them ourselves, but it also means that Ming will have to lose Korea as an ally if they invade Korchin. Unless, of course, Korea backs down from that guarantee. And we're going to break off some of our army, but not all of it. And send it over to the border with Kalka, prepared to take advantage of their weakness before Korea, or anyone else guarantees them. Now, actually, I believe that guy was with our colonial troops. As of yet, I can't see any Muscovite colonization, and they don't have any ideas that will allow them to colonize quite yet, so we have some time. I'm going to take the opportunity to buy down our inflation. And now we're down beneath 3%, and that does feel better. It frees up a lot of our money. And that will slowly climb back up. But for now, we're doing all right in that regard. And we get a 441 heir. I would prefer if his military score was a little higher, but at least we do have an heir, as our Sultan is already 60 years old. And we're actually going to get that inflation down even further. Now we shouldn't have to worry about it again for several decades if luck breaks our way. And Kalka just broke to rebels. And that is only the start of their problems. That was probably a bad idea. And we can get some piety here. I think we'll replace those lost men. And we can make another 6,000 men. So I think we will do that. Actually, I might as well use these men for looting. Okay, we could get an idea and allow us to recruit conquistadors, but we're not yet racing against Muscovy. So I think I'd like to finish this idea and get that global settler increase of +10 to make our colonial growth a little faster. And we should be able to pay off this loan relatively soon, particularly if Kalka has any money. And sadly they don't have much. These provinces aren't great, so we're just going to increase the autonomy so that we don't have to deal with them. And we're going to send our army back over to the west. We don't want this, as Kurgan is in the hands of Muscovy. And Muscovy has stopped being hostile to us. Sadly, they are not friendly. And we max our reputation with the Ottomans, meaning that we can get this royal marriage. We'll happily take it, even though it temporarily puts us over a limit. And they don't want an alliance with us quite yet, but we will work on that. Our ulama is demanding some more land, so I think it would be entirely appropriate to give them one of these provinces, help them convert it a little more quickly. No guy is friendly with us, but I would much rather take some of their money and a couple of these provinces than befriend them. It looks like Russia has given up any ambitions at the moment to their east. That's likely a consequence of having their regent for Ivan III be a diplomat. So that's probably a temporary thing, but we'll enjoy it while we can. Looks like we can get another rival, and that could be Muscovy. But the only circumstance in which that would be a good idea for us, until we're stronger than them, is if it could help us secure an alliance with the Ottomans, and it cannot at present help us with that goal. So we could establish a new world mission here, give some more influence to the ulama, and increase our chance of incorporating in natives. I see no downside to that, as we're not in any sort of range in which the ulama could stage a takeover of our country. And we now can pay off that loan. Our troops are receiving full wages at present. And I think we're going to drop that down to about there. Get some money and bulk up our forces again. We're not yet to the point where cannons are very good, so we're mostly relying on infantry, and we'll buy 3 more. And now our colony is producing fur. Yeah, we've made another 3,000 troops. I think we'll get another cannon for one of those 1,000. And why not get yet another? That'll just help with taking out forts. And it does give us a small kick in combat. Noga is already in a war, so it wouldn't be a bad opportunity to snatch up some of their land. We do have some rebels. And again, we have low manpower. But cheap and easy territory is cheap and easy. I don't like this because our emirs now are liking us even less. So I may wish to hand them off some land. And this province has 2 manpower, so we'll give it to the emirs. They'll make the province like us less, but it will speed up the process by which our emirs are going to get over their grievance against us. We'll give them this province as well. And I'm going to start paying our troops full wages. As the rebel progress is picking up. Now, fortunately, the ruler of Koch died, so that royal marriage had ended. And now we're no longer paying for that empty diplomatic relations slot. I do want to remove Koch from the map because that manpower recovery speed will be very useful to us. Now we have a choice of increasing or decreasing our piety, and that sounds to me like a perfect opportunity to decrease our piety by declaring war on a fellow Sunni nation, and that will be Nogai. So it drops by 16, and then we raise it again, so we are maxed out. And we've captured the war goal. And eliminated one of Dogai's armies, which appears to be their only one. They pieced out of the other war as quickly as possible. And now we are facing a conflict with some Cossacks. We will demand that they be brought to justice, but the Muscovites don't care. And this province takes a slight hit, which is unfortunate because it was a 15 development province. And our statesman just died, so we're going to rely some more on trade. We're getting high revolt risk here. Govi and Setsen are provinces here. Can't do too much to reduce that unless we convert them. So we will probably have to send some troops and put down the inevitable rebels. I'm going to tempt fate and see if we can convert them before they rise up. Alright, now we're given some options of what we would like to do with some upset people. Food prices are going up, and the merchants naturally don't wish to lower prices. I think we can afford to step in and buy food and distribute it. Our people will be happy, the merchant guilds will be happy, and only our treasury will suffer. So Nogai is offering up some territory here, and we will happily take some from them. I do want to see what Muscovite ambitions are. It seems that they don't care about any of this. What they will like is forcing Nogai to give up claims on that area. We did get some aggressive expansion, but it's partially offset. And I really don't want to deal with rebels right now, as we do have low manpower. All the same, I do want some value out of these provinces, so I'm going to hand off some of them to the emirs as soon as we can make them states. Sadly, though, we are maxed out, so that process is going to have to wait until we get our admin tech up one more to 8, and we gain 5 new estates. Lost a general, and we are much closer geographically to the Ottomans, so I think they're going to be much more likely to want to ally us, but still not quite enough. We've got enough money to buy building, but I don't think we're going to do that quite yet. We have no claims on Uzbek, so we should get one. And our truce here has expired, so we should plan out war. We still have our claim on it. Unfortunately, we cannot push east without having to deal with Korea, and I'd rather get some manpower back, and then we can consider that as an option. We now have a border with the Golden Horde, who is a vassal of Crimea, but we cannot see Crimea on our map, so I have no idea who their allies are. I can guess that Muscovy is not one of them, as they are hostile to Crimea. The Ottomans are not allied to them either, so it might be worthwhile to consider pushing west. Unfortunately, we would not be able to core anything other than Nogai itself, so we would fight a war over 9 development. We are suffering from a little bit of corruption, so I'm going to try rooting out some more. We're making enough money to where that's a possibility. Our troops are in place, so let's start this war off. And now that our diplomat is back, we're going to top off relations with our allies, keep them happy. And let's increase our trust there. Timurids are trying to take over Oman. Don't have good enough maps to know too much about that, but I can guess that Oman's navy is stronger, so they will be protecting Hormuz from Timurid naval invasions. Our maps don't let us know much more about what's going on. And this province reached 90% revolt risk. Or this faction. So once these troops are freed up, we will set them on that last province and tick down that revolt risk. So Dornogovi right there. Might as well pull this guy back from the Ottoman Empire. And we'll make our ally a little happier by giving up all of these cores on the western two-thirds of Tibet. And that gives us the manpower recovery bonus that we wanted. Manpower needs to recover. We're not going to do that, as we are planning another war right away. And so our option is to take over this province of Agidel. And that one is right here. So once again, we are going to refuse that. It's not going to happen. And we're going to increase autonomy here. Timurids are fabricating against us. We don't much care. Well, I do want both these techs. I don't want to pay full price to them unless we have to. And now this rebel faction is decreasing by 10% monthly. So our cap here is 1601, so we've got some time before we're going to be forced. Okay, now we're getting a discount, so I'm going to snag that, get a little bit more trade income, and our colony is going to finish just a little bit faster. And that's good, because these troops would have to stay in place during the war with Uzbek. Speaking of that war, we're in a position to fabricate claim. Might as well go for Tiamen. And I saw that there was a civil war going on over here in Korchin. That isn't something that we can take advantage of unless we went to war with Korea. And I think that might be our next move after dealing with Uzbek. We're starting to get some manpower back, and we're about ready to tack up our military. Circuit has grown. That is great. It is automatically a core, but it's 75% autonomy. Don't have a truce, so we're going to attack them. Oops. Should have waited till the first of the next month, but it's not going to matter. And we have topped off relations with Bengals. We're going to repeat that with our buds, Delhi. And we'll just hope that they don't betray us and sign a separate peace again. record a bunch of new provinces, and as soon as we get this tech up, we can make some of that into states, including like this area. We do have most of our territory are part of states. I kind of would like this region to be added in, because we'll inevitably be going there. Or sorry, this is already. I would want this region because we will be going into Afghanistan. And we'll pick up some of this as well. What we do with these Siberian provinces will heavily depend on which ones produce gold and other valuable resources. Otherwise, they're mostly there as a barrier against Muscovite expansion. And these troops are going to retreat here and possibly get wrecked by natives, which would be pretty hilarious. But no, seeing that that's not the case, so we'll finish them off and come back for some